Okay, we can follow with the other presentation, with the other two presentations, because the authors are the same. Therefore, we'll proceed with two presentations, these two presentations. Just a moment. The first presentation, thank you. No. Okay. The second presentation, Increasing Life Course Complexity and Childlessness, Evidence from the Trajectory of Italian Course Born Between 1917 and 1971, Chiara, Baldan, Annalisa, Donno, M.Letizia, Tanturri, and after we have another presentation with the same co-authors. Okay, Life Course Event and the Choice of Parenthood, a Multi-Process Hazard Analysis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll present this work developed with Annalisa Donno and M.Letizia Tanturri. This morning we have seen and heard a lot about the context of very low fertility in Italy and also the increase of childlessness. In this graph we can see the trends in permanent childlessness of women by birth cohort in Italy and across geographical regions. And we can see the large increase in the prevalence of childlessness that has more than doubled across these cohorts, and also different trends across the Italian regions. Childlessness is a very complex phenomenon, and we have tried to have a deeper understanding of this phenomenon using different approaches. In this study, we have different study objectives. In particular, we want to give a picture of childlessness in Italy, and we want to identify typical longitudinal union and work trajectories. So not only the fertility dimension, but also the work dimension and the union dimension. And we want also to focus on the complexity, the increasing life course complexity of the individuals in Italy. In the second part, we want to find the differences in the life course between childless individuals and parents who delay having their first child. In the last part, we want to study the impact of work and union and the life course events that lead to the birth of the first child. For this study, we have used the Italian survey, families, social subjects, and life cycle, and we selected women and men who were at least 45 years old for women and 50 for men, because we wanted that individuals that have finished their reproductive period. In this survey, there are retrospective questions, and we have used them for reconstructing fertility histories and also work, life course history, and union trajectories. So for each individual of the sample, we have a sequence of states from 16 years old to 45 for women and 50 for men. This sequence is a sequence of states month by month, and each individual can be in one of these 8 possible life course states in each month. These eight states are the combination of the 2 possible states for the working dimension, so if the individual is working or not working in a month, and the 4 possible states for the union dimension, if he is not in a union, so single or divorced, if he is engaged, or in a living apart together relationship, if he is cohabiting or married. Let's focus on the first objective of this study, the picture of childlessness in Italy. Our research questions were, the first one is, how has the profile of childless individuals changed across cohorts, and there exist gender differences, and then we focused on the life course complexity, if this complexity has increased and the life course trajectories are more fragmented for the most recent cohorts. For the methods, in this first part, we have used sequence analysis, both indicators, in particular the complexity index indicator, and then cluster analysis. We wanted to find groups of individuals who have similar life course trajectories. These are the results for the complexity index. This index is a composite measure that considers two aspects, the sequencing, so the transitions from one state to another state, and also the duration, so how much time an individual stay in each state of his sequence. On the first graph, we can see the sequence index plot. So we have the life course sequence for 5 individuals of our sample, and these individuals are have the most complex life trajectories of the sample. And while in the second graph, we can see the box plot of complexity index by birth, cohort, and sex. And we can see the trend, an increasing complexity for the most recent cohorts. But we want to see these results using a model. And this is what we have done. We have used this index as the outcome variable for a linear regression model. And this model controls for key socio-demographic characteristics, and we applied a stepwise selection stepwise selection. What we can see is that, for example, women have a more complex life course trajectories compared to male, but we want to focus on the cohorts. And we can see that the new cohorts, the most recent one, have a higher life course complexity compared to the older ones. Okay, and now we go to the cluster analysis. We have used the optimal matching as the dissimilarity measure for this cluster analysis, and Word's algorithm for the clustering. We have selected a 5-cluster solution, and we have named these clusters based on the information of each cluster. The first one is the work-married cluster, the second, the work-single, the turbulent, the third one, then no-work-married cluster, and no-work-single. What you can see from this graph, it is a state distribution plot, and in the x-axis we can see the age of the individual, and in the y-axis we can see the proportion of individuals in each state. Then we want also to understand which individuals belong to each cluster, so we estimated a multinomial logistic regression model with the cluster membership as the outcome variable. And some insights, we can see that in the first cluster, the individuals have a more traditional life course trajectory, while in the second one, here is very important the working dimension, and these individuals are outside the union dimension. They are mostly single and have a higher likelihood of belonging to this cluster. Men, individuals with higher levels of education, living in the central northern regions. While in the third cluster, the turbulent, we can see a focus on the union dimension. In this cluster, we have individuals who cohabiting, who are in living apart together relationship. And in this cluster, there are more fragmented sequences and less traditional. In the no-work married cluster, women with lower levels of education, living in the south regions or islands, have a higher likelihood of belonging to this cluster. And the last one is the no work single, and this cluster is characterized by trajectories mostly outside both the union dimension and the working dimension. In this graph, we can see the distribution across the 5 clusters for each birth cohort by sex, and we can see a change in cluster composition, in particular for women, and also a focus on the cluster, the turbulent cluster, who has increased for the cohorts, and it has increased to 13% in the youngest cohort of women. So the less conventional, less traditional life course trajectories. So in this first part, we have seen through the cluster analysis that there are multiple paths leading to childlessness, and there is a high heterogeneity among the childless population, and there's also a change in cluster composition across the cohorts, in particular for women. And we have also seen an increasing life course complexity and a more fragmentation of life course trajectories. Okay.